You ever get paid and feel that rush of excitement? Maybe you go buy yourself something small because you deserve it, and then 2 weeks later, you're staring at your bank account wondering why there's no money in it? I know I have. You see, the thing with money is most people think it's a math problem, that if they just made more of it, then all their problems would disappear. But what if it's not about the math at all? What if the reason that you're staying broke is all in your head? Have you ever heard the phrase scarcity mindset? Well, whether you have or you haven't, it is one of the most powerful, most destructive forces at play when it comes to personal finances. What it all comes down to is fear, whether that be the fear of running out, the fear of never having enough, or the fear of failure. All of these fears manifest through having a scarcity mindset around money. Because when there's not enough money to go around, your brain will start to fixate on that. You enter what these behavioral economists refer to as tunneling. It's when your mind zooms in so tightly on your immediate problems, like paying rent or covering this week's groceries, that you lose the ability to think rationally long term. In their research, they found that people under significant financial stress perform worse on cognitive tests, not because they're less capable people, but because scarcity literally consumes all of their mental bandwidth. Your brain goes into fight or flight, and you start thinking in survival mode. You stop planning, you stop saving, and you start making short-term decisions that provide temporary relief. That's why a lot of people spend a big part of their paycheck as soon as it hits their account. Not because they're irresponsible, but because it provides them a temporary sense of control. Like, just imagine this for a second. You're a single mom, your boss has been on your ass all week to get a project done that you don't even care about, your kids have to go to soccer practice every day, money is tight, you're stressed out, but then you get paid. There's already an overwhelming amount of bills to be paid and you can't pay them all, so you say to yourself, well, I can't fix everything, but at least I can treat myself today. The problem is that tiny moment of relief just reinforces the cycle. You spend, you stress out, leads to scarcity, and then you spend more. And the irony of the situation is the less that you have, the more likely you are to make choices that will keep you there. Not because you want to, but because your brain is just trying to survive. And one way it tries to do that is through instant gratification. So our brains are wired to chase dopamine, and dopamine is this chemical that rewards you for getting what you want, and modern life gives you endless ways to trigger it. Scrolling TikTok, hitting that buy now button, ordering food, whatever, it all is the same loop. And money-wise, it's absolutely brutal. It comes down to this simple fact: saving is boring, spending is fun. There's no dopamine hit for transferring $100 into your Roth IRA, but there is for buying that Big Mac. And marketers already know this. Entire industries are built on hijacking your reward system. They literally study you, exploit your weaknesses to a point that feels illegal, and all the while, you hand over your hard-earned money with a smile on your face like they just did you a favor. It's bananas. You can know rationally that you should be saving money, but when you're already tired, stressed, and bored, your brain doesn't care about the word should. You can know rationally that you should be saving money, but when you're already tired, stressed, and bored, your brain doesn't care about should. It wants relief, and it wants it now. It wants that hit. Stanford's famous marshmallow experiment proved this decades ago. What they basically did was set a marshmallow in front of a kid and then told the kid that they were going to leave, and that if they did not touch the marshmallow until they get back, the kid would receive 2 marshmallows. And guess what? Most kids ate that marshmallow without even thinking twice about it. But what they also found was the kids that could delay gratification and not eat that marshmallow ended up doing better later in life. Newer research into this has found that willpower isn't just about discipline, it's also about your environment. If you're surrounded by temptation, you're not weak for giving in. You're just human in a system that's designed to make you break. And every small decision, even just buying something to feel a little better, adds up. Not because of the $20, but because of the pattern it reinforces. I use money to fix feelings. It's a slippery slope. But it's not the only slippery slope. Humans are social creatures. When it comes to finances, we typically measure ourselves relative to other people and not in absolute terms. Psychologists refer to this as relative income. Here's what it means. If you make $60,000 a year, but all of your friends only make $40,000, you're gonna feel rich. On the contrary, if you make $100,000 a year, but everyone around you makes $200,000, suddenly you feel behind. And social media has turned that comparison into a 24/7 highlight reel. Everyone's richer than you, happier than you, and more successful than you. So naturally, you start trying to keep up. You upgrade your car, your clothes, your apartment, not because you need to, but because you want to signal to others that you're also doing okay. Economists call this status consumption, and it's wild how powerful this can be. In one Harvard study, people said that they'd rather earn $50,000 a year if others earned less, rather than $100,000 per year if others earned more. We'd literally choose less money just to feel rich. But ask yourself, would you say the same? And here's the problem with this, and it's quite simple. The more you spend to look wealthy, the less you're gonna have to actually be wealthy. It's a race that no one ever wins. But if you're not tempted by instant gratification and you've already deleted all of your social media accounts, you might still fall victim to the belief that once I start making more, then I'll start saving. Sound familiar? It's logical, but it's not true. Because the data shows something crazy. Even as people's income rises, their savings rate barely changes. In the United States, over half of the people making six figures or more still live paycheck to paycheck. How is that even possible? Well, the truth is, your behaviors don't magically change when you make more money. You just scale the same behaviors, which scale the same problems right along with it. If you overspend on 40K, you're gonna overspend on 140K, just with nicer stuff. And I get it, when you're just scraping by, saving feels impossible. And it might actually be impossible, but in most cases, it's not about the amount, it's about the identity. You have to start acting like the person who builds wealth before you can actually have wealth. Otherwise, when the money comes in, you'll just find new ways to lose it. Now that I've told you the reasons why you're most likely broke, how do you break these psychological traps? First, you have to make it easier to do the right thing and harder to do the wrong thing. And it can't be through motivation because motivation will always run out. So we have to do it through systems. Here's the thing, if you automate your savings, you only have to make that decision one time. And if you don't see it, you can't miss it. That's the secret. Most people think financial success is about discipline, intelligence, or luck. But really, it's all about design. James Clear talks about this in his book. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Isn't that just beautifully said? So what we have to do is build systems that make good behavior automatic and bad behavior really, really hard. You can do things like setting up automatic transfers, hiding your investment apps if you're a chronic checker, or keep your fund money in a separate account. And just one more thing, you have to change how you talk to yourself. The reason I want to stress that is because I am so bad at it and I'm currently working on it. Stop saying, I'm bad with money, I'm an idiot, how could I forget that, things like that. It's quite honestly ridiculous. Whenever I make a mistake, my mind immediately jumps to put me down or make me feel bad. It's like I have to repent for my sins or something. And I know firsthand that this is tough, but if we can stop pulling ourselves down and instead push ourselves towards who we want to be, this whole mission gets a heck of a lot easier. Because if you don't change your identity, you'll always revert to old patterns. I'm pretty sure someone famous once said, we act in alignment with who we believe we are. So yeah, this is why a lot of people stay broke. And honestly, I'm sure you've heard most of this before, maybe even all of it. In fact, I'm sure a lot of people have already clicked off this video because it sounded like the same advice they've heard 100 times before. But for those of you still watching, I think that right there is the most important realization of them all. Because deep down, we already know what's holding us back. We know why we're struggling, and we even know what we need to do to fix it. But for whatever reason, we don't, or we try and then stop. So here's my challenge to you. Take one small step today. Literally, like right now. This can be your call to action. Go do one small thing you've been putting off, something that you already know you should be doing, and then just start from there. So good luck out there. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day. Peace out.